The little girl said her dog could hear things. Only when her parents saw the recording did they believe her. The night everything changed. 7-year-old Emma Mitchell had been telling her parents the same thing for 3 months straight. "Buddy hears things in my room at night." Every single evening, without fail, their golden retriever would plant himself at the foot of Emma's bed, ears perked up, eyes fixed on the ceiling corner near her closet. The dog wouldn't move, wouldn't sleep. He just stared, as if guarding against an invisible threat that only he could sense. Her parents, Sarah and David Mitchell, did what most reasonable parents would do. They checked for mice. They inspected the attic. They even called an exterminator who found absolutely nothing. "Kids have wild imaginations," they told each other, "and dogs are just weird sometimes." But Emma insisted. "He's not imagining it, Mom, but he knows something we don't." The Mitchells were about to discover that their daughter was right all along, and the truth would send chills down their spines. A dog's unusual behavior. Buddy had been part of the family since he was 8 weeks old. Now, 4 years old, he was the picture of a perfect family dog, playful, gentle with Emma, and protective without being aggressive. He had never shown any signs of anxiety or unusual behavior until 3 months ago. It started subtly. Buddy would pause during playtime in Emma's room, his head tilting to one side, as if tracking a sound. Then he'd return to normal, tail wagging, ready to fetch his favorite tennis ball. Sarah noticed it first, but dismissed it as typical dog quirks. But the behavior escalated. Soon, Buddy refused to leave Emma's room at night. He'd position himself strategically between her bed and the closet, his body tense, his breathing shallow. Sometimes he'd let out a low whine that made Emma's skin prickle with gooseflesh. "Daddy, why does Buddy do that?" Emma asked one morning at breakfast, dark circles under her young eyes betraying sleepless nights. David ruffled her hair. "Dogs have better hearing than us, sweetie. He probably hears the house settling or maybe critters in the walls." Emma frowned. "It's not critters, it's something else." "Are you ignoring the signs your pet is trying to show you? Sometimes our animals sense dangers we can't see." Keep reading to discover what Buddy was really hearing and how it saved Emma's life. The parents' growing concern. As weeks passed, the Mitchells couldn't ignore the toll this was taking on their daughter. Emma, usually a bright and energetic child who loved school, started becoming withdrawn. Her teacher called to express concern about her daytime drowsiness. She'd fallen asleep during reading time twice in 1 week. "Maybe we should take Buddy to the vet," Sarah suggested one evening after tucking Emma in. "See if there's something medically wrong with him." David nodded. "And maybe Emma needs to talk to someone, a child therapist? She seems genuinely scared." But even as they discussed these options, neither parent truly believed there was anything sinister happening in their home. They lived in a safe, quiet neighborhood in suburban Ohio. Their house was only 12 years old, well-maintained, with no history of problems. What could possibly be wrong? The vet visit yielded nothing. Buddy was in perfect health. His hearing was excellent, perhaps too excellent, the vet joked. "Golden retrievers are sensitive dogs," she explained. "He might be picking up on Emma's anxiety and responding to it. Dogs are incredibly empathetic creatures." This explanation satisfied David, but Sarah wasn't so sure. She'd watched Buddy carefully over the past weeks, and his behavior seemed too specific, too focused. He wasn't reacting to Emma's mood. He was reacting to something else entirely. The decision to record. It was Sarah's idea to set up a camera. She didn't tell David at first, afraid he'd think she was feeding into Emma's fears. She ordered a simple baby monitor with night vision capability and audio recording, the kind young parents use to watch their infants sleep. I'm just going to rule everything out, she told herself, as she positioned the camera on Emma's bookshelf, angled to capture both her daughter's bed and the corner where Buddy always stared. I'll prove there's nothing there, and then we can all move forward. She told Emma about the camera, not wanting her daughter to feel spied upon. It's just so we can see what Buddy sees, she explained. Maybe we'll spot what's bothering him. Emma's face brightened for the first time in weeks. You believe me? I believe that something is bothering Buddy, and I want to figure out what it is. That night, Sarah activated the camera before kissing Emma goodnight. Buddy was already in position, his usual spot at the foot of the bed, his eyes locked on that same corner. Sarah felt a chill run through her as she closed the door. The first recording. Sarah sat at the kitchen table the next morning, her coffee growing cold as she reviewed the footage on her laptop. David had already left for work. Emma was eating Cheerios, chattering about a field trip coming up at school, seemingly more rested than she'd been in weeks. The first few hours of recording showed nothing unusual. Emma sleeping peacefully, Buddy occasionally shifting position but remaining alert. The night vision gave everything an eerie green glow, but otherwise it looked like any ordinary night. Then, at 2:47 a.m., Buddy's behavior changed. His ears shot up, his body went rigid, he stared intensely at the ceiling corner, and then, Sarah had to rewind to make sure she saw it correctly, Buddy's head began tracking something, slowly, deliberately, as if following movement that the camera couldn't capture. Sarah's hands trembled as she turned up the volume. There was nothing, just the quiet hum of the house's HVAC system. But Buddy clearly heard something. His head continued to track from left to right, then back again, his eyes never leaving that corner. Then came the sound that made Sarah's blood run cold. A faint scratching, rhythmic, persistent. It seemed to be coming from inside the wall, but there was something about the pattern that seemed almost purposeful, like someone or something was trying to communicate. If you've ever felt that something wasn't right in your home but couldn't prove it, you understand Sarah's terror in this moment. What she discovered next would change everything. Don't stop reading now. The truth is more shocking than you can imagine. Showing David the evidence. That evening, Sarah waited until Emma was absorbed in her homework before pulling David into their bedroom. She closed the door and opened her laptop, her hands still shaking hours after watching the recording. You need to see this, she said quietly. David's skepticism melted away as he watched the footage. He saw Buddy's reaction. He heard the scratching, and when Sarah replayed it 3 times, turning the volume up each time, he heard something else that made him go pale. Between the scratching sounds, there were voices. They were faint, barely audible even at maximum volume, but they were unmistakably human voices. 2 of them, male, speaking in hushed tones that the camera couldn't quite capture clearly enough to make out words. "What the hell is that?" David whispered. Sarah shook her head. "I don't know, but Buddy's been hearing it for 3 months." They sat in silence, both processing the implications. This wasn't critters in the walls. This wasn't the house settling. This was something far more disturbing. "We need to call someone," David finally said. "The police? I don't know, but we need to figure out what this is." The investigation begins. David called a friend who worked in home construction first, explaining the situation without mentioning the voices. Could there be some structural issue that would cause these sounds? Some ventilation problem? His friend came over the next evening and conducted a thorough inspection of Emma's room and the surrounding areas. He checked the attic space above, examined the walls, inspected the closet carefully. He found nothing unusual. "Your house is solid," he reported. "No signs of water damage, no pest activity, no structural issues. Whatever sounds you're hearing, they're not coming from your house settling or deteriorating." After he left, Sarah and David looked at each other with growing dread. If the sounds weren't coming from the house itself, then where were they coming from? David decided to review the recording with headphones, isolating the audio and trying to enhance the sound quality using free software he found online. What he discovered made him immediately call the police. The voices weren't in the walls at all. They were coming from underneath the floor. And when he enhanced the audio enough, he could make out fragments of conversation. Do you think they know? Keep quiet. Tomorrow night.
Someone was beneath their house. Someone had been there for months, and Buddy had known all along.
The Mitchell family's experience offers crucial lessons that every household should consider. Trust your children. Emma repeatedly told her parents something was wrong. While it's natural to attribute children's fears to imagination, persistent concerns deserve serious attention. Children often notice patterns and changes that adults dismiss as insignificant. Trust your pets. Dogs and cats have senses far superior to humans in many ways. Unusual pet behavior, especially when consistent and focused, isn't random. Pets have saved families from fires, carbon monoxide poisoning, and, as in this case, criminal threats. Verify and document. Sarah's decision to set up a camera was crucial. When dealing with unusual situations, documentation provides objective evidence that can reveal patterns invisible to casual observation. Home security basics. The Mitchells' experience highlights the importance of securing often overlooked access points. Crawl spaces, attic vents, and basement windows can be vulnerabilities that homeowners forget to secure properly. Community awareness. The criminals had successfully targeted other homes because families didn't report unusual signs or compare notes with neighbors. Community awareness and communication can prevent crimes. Moving forward. 6 months after the arrest, the Mitchell family has found a new normal. Emma sleeps soundly now, her faith in her parents' willingness to listen restored. Buddy still sleeps in her room, but now he's relaxed, his duties-less protector officially recognized with a special medal from the local police department during a community safety event. The family has become advocates for home security awareness and for trusting the bond between children and their pets. Sarah speaks at parent groups about the importance of listening to children's concerns, while David has helped several neighbors conduct security assessments of their own homes. But perhaps most importantly, they've learned that safety isn't just about locks and alarms. It's about paying attention to the members of your household, both human and animal, who might be trying to tell you something important. Buddy didn't just hear things, Emma said during a school presentation about her experience. He heard danger, and he protected me until the grown-ups finally listened. Have you checked your home security lately? Are you paying attention when your pets act strangely or your children express persistent fears? Don't wait until it's too late. The signs are often there. We just need to learn to recognize them. The Mitchell case sparked a broader conversation about home security and criminal behavior patterns. Security experts noted that living-in criminals, those who hide in homes or on properties while observing occupants, represent a growing and disturbing trend. These criminals take advantage of homeowners' assumptions that their property is secure once doors are locked at night. Detective Lisa Romero, who led the investigation, explained, "These weren't opportunistic burglars. They were organized and patient. They had studied the family for months. This kind of criminal behavior requires a completely different approach to home security, one that includes monitoring spaces we often forget about, like crawl spaces, attics, and even large vehicles parked on property." Several home security companies reported significant increases in inquiries following the news coverage of the Mitchell case. Homeowners wanted comprehensive assessments that included often overlooked areas. Hardware stores sold out of crawl space access locks and reinforced vent covers. The case also prompted changes in building codes in several municipalities. New construction now requires crawl space access points to be more secure and located in visible areas rather than hidden around the back or sides of houses. Buddy's legacy. Buddy became something of a local celebrity. The police department featured him in their community safety campaign with the slogan, "Listen to your dog, they're trying to tell you something." Animal shelters reported increased adoptions of dogs described as alert or protective, with families specifically seeking pets that would help keep their homes safe. But Dr. Kwan cautioned against viewing dogs solely as security systems. Buddy's story is remarkable, but it's important to remember that he was protecting someone he loved, Emma. The bond between them made him vigilant. Dogs aren't just alarm systems, they're family members whose loyalty and love happen to come with some incredible sensory abilities. The Mitchell family agrees wholeheartedly. They never forget that Buddy wasn't just detecting intruders, he was guarding his little girl. The love between a child and her dog had, quite literally, saved the day. Final thoughts. When instinct speaks, Listen. The story of Emma, Buddy, and the intruders living beneath their home serves as a powerful reminder of truths we too often forget in our modern, rational world. We trust technology, security systems, and logical explanations. And while these things have their place, we must not dismiss the ancient instinctive knowledge that our animal companions possess, or the persistent intuition of our children. For 3 months, Emma said her dog was hearing things. For 3 months, Buddy refused to leave his post, his eyes fixed on a corner of the room, his body tense with awareness of a threat his human family couldn't perceive. And for 3 months, the adults in the house looked for rational explanations that would make the unsettling behavior go away. The truth was there all along, whispering through the floorboards, captured in the subtle movements of a loyal dog's ears, and voiced in the persistent concerns of a 7-year-old girl. All that was needed was someone willing to listen. Before you go, ask yourself, what might you be missing in your own home? Are there signs you're dismissing as imagination or animal quirks? Today, take 30 minutes to really observe your space, your pets, and listen to any concerns your family members have raised. It might be nothing, or it might save your life. Don't learn this lesson the hard way. Pay attention. Trust your instincts and the instincts of those you love. Sometimes the truth is hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone brave enough to look for it. The Mitchells learned this lesson in the most frightening way possible. But their story also shows that when we finally do listen, when we take seriously the warnings from our children and the vigilance of our pets, we can protect what matters most, our families and our homes. Emma's words echo with simple, profound truth. Dogs always know. Maybe it's time we started believing them.